Okay, we are okay. We're ready to go now, and actually, we're recording. Let me go ahead and record this Zoom too.
Recording in progress.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Women in Communication, the South Florida chapter. Is actually our first educational event for the season, and I look forward to. This is kind of like the launch. I feel like, as this is our third one now, Emily, like third or fourth one. That we and fourth, and we were supposed to have a hybrid, but we're gonna wait until next month and see how things are. But I'm gonna go ahead and actually, before we start, again, this is our Empower Yourself. I'm thinking about Empower Yourself Monday here for a moment here. How to pitch to the media workshop. I'm just double checking the audio sound. I think it sounds really good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give Terry Michael, our VP, and she'll lead us into a breathing exercise, and then I'll give the mic to Emily, our communication director. And I can't wait to meet everyone. Our panel discussion is going to be fantastic. Thank you, Terry. The mic is yours.
Do you want me to request on Twitter or leave it alone?
No, I would mute yourself on Twitter because I'm going through a mixer, so we're like we're all mixing together.
Did you want me to mute myself on Twitter?
Oh yeah, I would mute yourself, or yeah.
Let me do that. Oops.
There we go.
You need to do it.
No, just mute your mic on your phone. Just mute your mic on your phone. You're like it.
That's okay.
Oh, just remove yourself. Here, I'll just remove you. Got it? Just leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's close our eyes. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Another deep inhale in through your nose. Exhale. Relax your face. Relax your jaw, your neck, your shoulders. Visualize all the stress going down your arms and out to your fingertips. Relax your chest, your torso, your hips. Visualize the stress going down your legs and up through your toes. And you're completely relaxed, gently breathing in and out through your nose. Take another deep breath in. Hold it. Exhale. Hands in prayer. May the divine in me honor the divine in you. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Terry.
You're welcome.
I love that. I always feel like I don't realize how tense my shoulders and stuff are until we do that. And then I'm like, oh, she's right. I'm like up here. So
bring them down. Keep thinking about it. Get those shoulders down. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Yes. Well, hi everyone. I'm excited for today. We're here for how to pitch to the media. And we are joined by three amazing women from South Florida media. So one by one, I'm going to just do a quick bio for everybody, and then we're going to get right into it today. So with us, we have Tekisha Harvey. Tekisha is with Canna Curious magazine. She actually left behind over 15 years of corporate life, working with Coach, Ralph Lauren, the ConAgra brands, and more to travel the world and become an entrepreneur. She launched TC Consulting in 2018 to help wellness brands with brand and marketing strategy. And since then, she's worked with some major cannabis and CBD brands to help them with consumer research and market expansion strategies. In 2020, she co-founded Canna Curious magazine, which is a digital magazine targeted to women interested in learning more about the benefits of CBD and cannabis. And she recently joined Flower Hive, a premier cannabis recruiting agency, as head of marketing. And I was lucky enough to meet her at an amazing event. And I definitely want to talk to you about the crossover between events and media as well. So we're going to discuss that. Thank you for joining us today, Tekisha.
Thank you.
We have Marie Speed with us today. And Marie is group editor of all JES publications, including Boca Raton Magazine, Delray Beach Magazine, Worth Avenue, Meisner's Dream, and more. She also oversees editorial operations of the company's Salt Lake City magazine. She's extremely involved in the community here in South Florida, from work with the Boca Raton Chamber of Commerce to a long-term board position at Caridad Center. I hope I'm saying that correctly. She's also on the George Snow Scholarship Fund. I believe you've also done Boca Ballroom Battle in the past and done some dancing with them. She's amazing. She is past officer of the Florida Magazine Association, a member of class 17 of Leadership Florida, and an amazing cook. I know that about her too. So thank you for joining us, Marie. And then we have April Erhard with us. She's the creative director of April GoLightly, which is a blog and social community dedicated to the everyday lifestyle of busy moms who want to be inspired. It's an amazing blog, one of actually my favorites. I've been pursuing her for a very long time to join us for an event. I feel like it's been like a couple of years now since I haven't been able to get our schedules to connect. She's a fashionista, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's got a passion for food, style, family, and travel. And I am so happy that your schedule let you be here with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah, welcome. And I'm going to make sure everybody's unmuted. There we go. Okay. So to get started today, I just kind of want to go one by one and let you just talk for a bit about what your focus is right now at your outlets. What's your beat? What are you currently focused on right now, especially as everything is up and down from the pandemic to today, and even with us changing this from an in-person event to being online. So really, where's the focus of your outlet currently? And if you want, we can start. Tekisha, if you want to start up.
Sure. So at Canna Curious, our mission is to be a source of enlightenment for women who want to understand more about the benefits of cannabis and CBD and how it can impact their lives in a positive way. And when we started this publication, like I said, I was working in market research for a cannabis company, and even myself 4 years ago was like, had the whole stigma in my head of like, this is wrong, this is drugs. And then I actually started talking to cannabis consumers and patients and realized like, wow, people are actually using this for wellness. And in being in the space, I found that there was really no one really talking to women like me, who I'm in my 40s, not like a typical, what people would call a typical stoner. I'm, you spend time functioning, working with director of marketing. But also just dealing with a lot of the stressors of life. And I felt that no one was really talking to women, which is why I launched Canna Curious. And the biggest thing that we try to do is to educate women through verified factual information, from leaders in the industry, practitioners in the industry, medical folks. But also just highlighting personal stories, because we find that that's what people connect to. And especially for women, like we want to know, we talk to our our girlfriends, other family members around, like, is this, to get information, sources of information. And so we wanted to be that source to at least bring together stories. So we are a lifestyle magazine, and kind of what we focus on right now is just those personal stories of women. Our mission is also to like just normalize cannabis use, because as women we have so many roles that we try to live up to. And I think it's really important to just continue to educate ourselves on what's available to us so that we can make the right decision. We aren't saying do this, you have to do this or don't do this, but it's more about what's your story? How's the plant impacted your life? And could that be a benefit for other people to know? We also highlight, like I said, the education aspect in terms of, we have an Ask the Doctor segment so people can learn, different things that they may not have known to use cannabis for example, like endometriosis or, menopausal issues. And there's products out there with that are actually helping women. So we focus a lot on personal stories, those verified facts or information, and then also just products, like products that people are finding useful, highlighting those in a way that that people can that is approachable. So that's where we're at right now.
I love it. Love it. And I love the what's your story, because that's really, I think, the thread that runs through types of media outlets overall, whether it's print or online or broadcast media. I mean, we're all looking for that human interest story, because that's what we really relate to. Marie, what are you working on these days? What's the focus currently at JES?
The focus is returning to what it was before the pandemic. And the pandemic is a game changer in terms of content generation. It was really difficult because so much was closed and there was a different kind of feeling in the air. And the tone of our magazine became more nurturing. Just a lot of things were different, but now we're back. People, and those stories that you're talking about. We're also highly local in each of our publications. I would say our market areas anywhere from, we could write about anywhere from Keys to Vero Beach, but it's more hyper local, just on both in Del Rey, and that's our niche. I mean, that's what we do well. It's what we really want to capitalize on. So we're not going to put a celebrity on our cover unless that celebrity lives in Boca or lives part-time in Boca. We're all about sort of navigating where we live in South Florida, celebrating it, giving people a sense of place. We're also lifestyle, so it's, everything from food, dining, travel, style, arts and entertainment, where to go, what to do, who's doing what. Again, filtered through that human consciousness. We don't write about abstracts. Even though we get asked a lot to write about this or that charity, we're not going to write about the charity, but we'll write about a person whose life was changed by the charity. It's important to know that we really need to have a human face on all what we do. And I think again, that sense of place, or that, it's so important to our magazines, especially in South Florida, which is Boca especially is relatively new. So you want to give people a sense of where they live and why they live there. You want to stay a little bit ahead. We also cover issues. It's not all just, as we used to say, we're not just a pretty face. I mean, we really do cover issues as they arise. I mean, we don't invent them, but for instance, what's the thing we're all talking about now? The housing crisis, huge. So we're going to be doing a big story on that coming up, and we do those things as they're warranted, so we don't shy away from them, which is different from a lot of lifestyle magazines in South Florida. We will take on tough stuff if we need to. So I don't know if that answers your question, but.
Yeah, absolutely. That does, for sure. And again, having a face to the story and putting that human interest to it.
And local.
And local. I think that's, yeah. And it's really important because there's not a lot covering local here in South Florida.
The newspapers. The newspapers are
also
kind of a deficit between Boca and Luray, and the area newspapers who themselves are facing tremendous issues and coverage and staffing, and magazines are as well, but the newspapers are really suffering. So we branched out on our web platform to be more immediate, and we have columnists that cover all of those categories, including City Hall and politics, and we find that people come to us for that kind of coverage in our area because
great. And that's the local aspect is also, again, why we love bloggers like April. And we definitely want to hear about what you're focusing on these days, April.
Marie, I just wanted to say, I live in Boca, so I definitely appreciate Boca Mag and the website as well. I'm definitely on there checking out stuff all the time. Yeah, everybody said so. Awesome. For me, I mean, I feel like the pandemic kind of changed everything, at least for me. I mean, I became like basically a stay-at-home mom, and my daughter was doing virtual. We've just been like, everything's been up in the air. So I did change a few things where my blog was focused on lifestyle for a very long time. And I kind of shrunk it down more to fashion, back to its original roots. So kind of curvy fashion, and now I'm kind of branching a little bit back out to like the traveling again. So we're heading to Disney next month, and what I'm going to do with that is kind of like the plan. I want to give it a full plan. Like, this is what I'm packing. Like, I want to make it very easy for whoever watch, like my readers, my followers, to just like pick it up and be like, this is what April did. This is what I'm going to do. And make it very easy. And what I do locally is, so for my blog is local, but it also has a wider audience, meaning that like New York, California, Illinois, Texas, a lot of different like large city areas. And I try to bring them to Boca or Palm Beach by featuring like hotels and restaurants and things like that, and kind of giving them the same thing. Like I'm kind of visiting my area as a tourist, if that makes sense. So I'm like, okay, this is my itinerary for you to visit Boca. You know, go to this restaurant, stay at the hotel, you know, do this exact activity with your kids. So I feel like I'm missing on. Oh, and wear this. Don't forget your lily. Okay. so, um, so yeah, I think, and also now that we're all probably have a little bit more weight on us than we probably want. So like, just feel confident in who you are in this moment, and not be worried about it, and just like go out there and live kind of feeling.
Yes, I love it, especially as summer is coming.
Yeah, exactly. Get your bathing suits out and let's
Put
do
it
this.
Yeah, that's fantastic. No, and that's great. I mean, it's important to have that messaging, and especially down here. There's, South Florida is a place where there's a lot of focus on how everybody looks and being here by the ocean and such. So I think that's phenomenal content to be able to put out into the world.
Yes. I put on a bathing suit and I get thank yous all across the board that if I can wear a bathing suit, then they can too. So it's awesome.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
So, I come from this all on the PR side of things. So as a publicist myself, one of the biggest things that we talk about on our end is the relationship between PR and media, rather. And I saw an article or a post today where there was a reporter who was talking about they get about 1,000 emails a day or week. I mean, I don't know exactly that, but 1,000 emails, and maybe one or two of those emails actually had some relevant pitches for them. And I know we always try not to, mass pitch and really target and focus on what stories we're sending out. So I want to hear from each one of you. If somebody wants to pitch a story to your magazine, your blog, for your online component, what is it that's going to make that stand out? Do you need an existing relationship first? Is there a subject line you're looking for? Like, what is going to help? Because a lot of the people who are tuning in today, especially on Twitter Spaces, are from some of our local PR groups and our publicists who are really trying to figure out that piece of it and strengthen their pitching. So let's see. If any of you have something you want to jump in on, we can start with you. But I'd love to hear, how do you like to be pitched? How do we stand out?
I'll jump in. And Cancers is a newer publication, but I've already gotten pitches from people doing like LED lighting for row houses. And I'm like, did you even look at our website to see what we do? So I'd say like the main thing is actually like research the outlet and see what type of stories they write, what type of, just to see if there's alignment there. And then even before the pitch, I would say, and a lot of it's done via email. I think it's like my preferred just because it gives me time to read it, digest it. But also just maybe before you have a pitch, it's just, introducing yourself and introducing maybe your clients, because there's a lot of PR pitches, and introducing your client and saying like, here's an angle that I may have, would, maybe want to talk to you further about what you have upcoming, maybe like just to start to kind of maybe build that relationship. I always say it's like dating, like let's have a date before we go right into it, but I I'm very like, I'm super interested in people, so this may not be for everyone, but I'm more like, and I'm very interested in like building long-term partnerships and relationships with folks, and um, because I think that that's important. So I'm not super transactional. And I want to, because I've been on the other side and I understand like getting rejections and getting no's. So, but it does start with like understanding the audience of the outlet that you're pitching. So doing that research and not sending the mass email and, pitching me on lighting where we're not a B2B publication. I can't help you there. So I definitely would say like just knowing the audience um, and then reaching out with with a potential idea before you just go right into it and just like with the mass email.
Okay, that's great advice. Absolutely.
Um, I agree so much. I think the best ideas I get are when people really understand what our magazine does, the things I said about people, the things I said about being local. There has to be some local relevance to our readers. I think a lot of public relations people are charged with the mission of promoting, or publicists promoting certain clients, and that overshadows how they design their pitch toward me. I mean, I'm here for client gets publicity, but what story can you tell me that would make it maybe something that my readers would like?
Hmm.
And knowing the magazine, some of my favorite PR people already know what the different departments are called. Wouldn't this be great for Worth a Trip, Marie, or something like that? Um, so that helps. I like to get those communications via email about everything else, but I think people pretty much have quit calling.
Yeah.
I don't think that ever happens anymore, but it used to be, you know, something that happened a lot. But I like to get them by emails. They need to be short and sweet. Um, Relevance to Boca Raton or Del Rey, and maybe a little extra. I mean, just somebody starting a business or somebody who's well known in the community isn't enough. It's hard for me to explain, but for instance, if there's a new developer in Del Rey and he's going to build some really cool townhouses, that's still not a story. What else is he doing in the community that will give that some legs? Otherwise, because you don't want to sound like you're promoting somebody just to promote them. You want to tell a human story, so that matters to me.
Yep. And I would say short and sweet sounds good. The press release emails, not a fan. I want to be able to tiny little like one paragraph. Um, I don't mind, so short and sweet as far as that. I do open most of my emails and I get a lot of pitches. Um, so we're specifically talking about travel or just pitches in general?
Just in general.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me,
stands out for you?
so for me, because I'm a blogger and I'm a little different than the magazines, I would say budget is important. The fact that you might have some budget to go towards sponsorship, that would be nice to see, because when there's money written in an email, I definitely respond to that quicker than everybody else's. Um, if they also, I know that social media, I notice when PR people are following social media and they're liking my stuff on social, I notice them. And then if they email me, I will remember that they are the ones that are liking. If it's like the same messaging or same person, so Emily's, Mugsy PR, but it has your name there. I see it. So I see that you're liking and then emailing me. I see that. Also, if you're like messaging on Instagram or some other Instagram, I would say would be the best one. The other stuff, I feel like just I never see it. Like Twitter, do not send a message. I feel like there's so much spam. So I usually respond to them on Instagram and then ask them to move over to email. Because I feel like it's more formal. I feel like things can get lost in Instagram land. Then I'll never be able to find it again. Let me see. I wrote some notes. Yeah, just like in general, if they can be upfront about what they want, what they're looking for specifically, and knowing what you guys want is super important. Maybe not in the first email, but maybe in the second email, and I'm like, I'm interested in more information. Then give me actual information, not, like if you want photos, tell me you want photos. If you want an article, a blog post, a video, let me know these things so that I know what to do, because a lot of people are just like, don't even know what they want. So I feel like
That's a pretty valid point too. I think a lot of the time our clients come to us and they're just like, I'm opening a business, get me coverage on that. And we're trying to create a story. Sometimes, I mean, as much as we try to, and try to be a good publicist, not on the bad side, but sometimes you're like, I don't know what I just want, I need to come up with the story. So we're inventing stories every day for our clients. So it's, I know a lot of the time, like I'll reach out to you and say, what are you working on? What do you need? And we try that too. So if we can fit something in that you're looking for or need, or if you need experts and so forth.
I also think like a list in general with, give me your client list. I know that sounds awful, but let me look at the list and maybe I can help you with that list. Because I think that, especially if I like a PR person, I want to work with them again. I mean, 100%. If I don't like the PR person, like I never want to see them again.
Yeah, some of us have a terrible reputation. So it's, we're working against that too. I'm sure that the people who have come prior. You mentioned about being pitched on social though. I want to know, like, Maria and Tekisha, how do you feel about being pitched on social media?
I just don't. I mean, when I'm in my office, I'm really, the way work is now, I'm not like the Devil Wears Prada and going to lunch and Paris and all that. I'm writing stories. I mean, we all are. Our staffs are very little now. So the easiest way to reach me really is email. It's right there. I check social media, but not regularly. I mean, not in my work day. So I really just would like a business like email.
I think I have learned, like as I've gone to networking events and stuff, now it's people like, oh, what's your Instagram versus like, can I have a card? So I do know for, especially cannabis is new. And that's where a lot of people are is Instagram. So I do get pitches through Instagram as well. But again, the similar thing is like, don't just pitch me through Instagram and not look at our page and not look at any of the links to see what we do and types of stories. But I love your idea, Emily, of just like asking, what do you need help with? Like in general life, that's a good thing to do in terms of business, instead of just like, let me shove down your throat what I want, but say, hey, because then you can go back and be active, proactive, and say, okay, they are looking for these types of stories. Let me see if I could tweak my story angles to fit what they're looking for, or even help expand upon, something that they may not have thought about. So I think social media in terms of reaching out, it's a good starting point. But then I always direct people like emailing, because that's where I can get on my laptop. And although I can't see. Email is like, I will direct them to email, but April, to your point too, I think it is great to have people like follow you. And I feel like that's the first step in dating. Like, even if they don't consider, like, just, engage a little bit and let me see you around. I'm going to give you way more attention because I see that you're liking or engaging, or, it just doesn't feel as cold. And but it kind of all goes back to like, know what we do, what we stand for, and not just kind of use it as a try to force fit something, then I just have to say no.
Yep. Yep. And I love that. And I know, for instance, like I think actually all three of you I met along the way at events. And back in the day, I feel it's so long ago, that was the big thing. And we used to hold a lot of launch events and hold a lot of in-person things where we could invite media and kind of wine and dine and bring everybody out. Are you all back to going out to things again? Are you, I mean, I know Tekisha and we met recently at an event, so I was actually able to speak to you in person and say, hey, what are you working on? What can can I write for you? What can we do? So yeah, my article was in your last issue, which I was very proud of. So the crossover of cannabis and cryptocurrency. My passion is in crypto these days as well. So, but yeah, are you all going back out to events? Are you accepting invitations to come out to things? I'd love to hear a little bit about that for our publicists listening as well. If you want to,
Yeah, we're it's back to life as normal. There aren't as many events. And personally, I told you earlier, the pandemic has ruined me. I'm not loving going to events right now. I mean, I got really used to not. There's a lot of things that I get invited to that just, I don't know. I'm older than the rest of you, and I've been doing it a long time. And I like to go to things where I play a role in a way. And something like tonight makes sense to me because I'm talking about what I love and what I know. To go see the same people over and over and over again, same small talk. I can do it, but I don't know. I feel like I want more of a reason. But that's all personal. Our staff is out. I know that we go to a lot of media tastings. There haven't been as many openings or ribbon cuttings or things like that. I think things have scaled way back, but yeah, we'll go.
nice. Did you just do Boca Bacchanal? I was out of town. I didn't get to go to Boca Bacchanal this year, but I heard it was fantastic.
Yeah. I couldn't go to that for a very specific reason, but I did go to one of the vineyard dinners the night before. And so, yeah, everything in Boca is back and people are raring to go.
Yay. Are you getting out again? Oh, you're going to Disney, you said?
Yeah, I'm going to Disney. I've done a few things, like a few trips and stuff like that. I did San Diego for like a blogging retreat. That was super fun. I did like a media dinner the other day, but it was it was just me and my other blogger friends. I really liked that. Like Marie said, that I'm sick of the small talk. I want to spend time with people I enjoy. And I mean, we're both in the same industry. It totally makes sense. I think that was a great thing. We get to small talk and we both get to take pictures of each other. It was very good. And I personally would not never, most likely not going to say yes to a just straight up, 30 people media dinner.
I agree with you. I think they're moving away from those too.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Sending writers on their own to restaurants, at their convenience, and it sort of feels more meaningful.
Yeah, I agree. We're trying to do a lot of that is at your convenience. When can you come out, do something personal and intimate so that for us it's safer, it's easier. The restaurants prefer it as well. So
and then everybody has the same exact photo, where you go to these dinners and like literally 30 photos of the same food. It's not good. So, and this way, we get like the lifestyle aspect of it, where it's like the two of us eating dinner together. We get the cute in the restaurant lifestyle photo, and you get the food photos, which I like to do that. Sorry.
And Tekisha, you're going out and about to events and such now?
Yeah, okay, so it's a little different.
Right.
But it's so much fun. So we essentially, because cannabis is legal in 37 states, it is still federally illegal. CBD is legal federally. And so there's also all these rules. It's still labeled a Schedule 1 drug. So it's in the same classification as heroin, cocaine, et cetera. So there's like no advertising. Like there's just a lot of rules. And as a result, a lot of cannabis coverage happens through events and experiences, which is why, as a magazine, we started creating our own events, but also because like women like experiences, we like to do interesting things. So Emily, when I met you was at a rolling parlor teaching women how to roll joints using hemp. And we found that that creates community, which is also part of our mission, is like creating community. So it is, and I think I spent a lot of my years in New York and in fashion and in corporate, and I just wanted to blow that whole thing up the way that things were. And like I told you, I'm all about human connection and people, and I think that that is, we all crave it, and that's how we make a better place. So how do we? Part of what Canna Cares is like, how do we create these events and experiences that are not small talk and that are more meaningful, and because cannabis is it's a unifying plant, believe it or not, because people from all backgrounds, economic situations, races, ethnicities, genders, whatever, who consume have a story with it. And that is the thing that is super interesting, because people want to tell you, oh, you know what? My grandfather's using this, or my cousin 22-year-old daughter has epilepsy and she's finding relief. It's like there's so many stories. So and in that sharing, in those spaces, creating those spaces where people can kind of connect on those, that has been really beneficial. And that's actually where we get ideas for stories and get ideas for pitches. Again, look, I mean, you picked the crypto and cannabis, which is huge. I just did an article on that for the company I work for. Their PR department did it, because like I wouldn't have thought about that intersection of cannabis and crypto. And now I'm like, oh my God, this is the whole thing. And so I think like creating those spaces where you can do interesting things. We have another event coming up in Lake Worth, a women's wellness event, where we're like educating women, but we also make it fun, like in a cool space where we have like Instagrammable moments, also education. And then we have in June, we're doing at the same coffee shop, partnering to do like breakfast at Tiffany's themed, like, the tiny picnic, who creates these little picnic.
Oh, I love them. They create cute, yes.
Yeah, like it's all about, like, I think creating these experiential events that help for us on our mission of normalizing it with women and like, destigmatizing it, but also in those spaces, that's where you kind of can like mine for gold, and like in terms of like, oh, like this is, even just, I come from market research background too, so just understanding people's stories and what are their hesitations and barriers, and being able to just kind of converse in a more relaxed environment, but also create an experience of doing something that you probably wouldn't have done. And I'm with you, Maria, in terms of going out. I'm like, if it's not in 10 minutes,
It's not just me. I feel so much better.
No, it's definitely not just you.
It's not just, I'm like, do I have to put on heels? If I have to put on heels, I'm not going.
I know. What about heels? I don't wear heels anymore.
I had to put on makeup in like 3 stages today because I couldn't like sit down to actually do it. Yes. So yeah. I'm excited though about it sounds amazing, like all the fun events you're having, Tekisha. That sounds awesome.
Yeah,
And that's a classic way to get stories. I mean, that's just classic magazine stuff at the right event. So many of them you don't have the opportunity to have this kind of conversations. They're not about conversations. They're about like moving to the next person and doing your FaceTime and here,
Right.
But your events sound like people actually talk to each other.
Yeah.
I really have to say that first of all, I came in mind who was like, oh, I have these tickets. Let's go to this thing. Like, let's go to this thing. Let's give it a try, right? And we rolled in there, no pun intended. We rolled into the event, and I met so many different people, like just different types of people at that event, and sat there. And again, because you're doing something tangible with your hands while you're sitting there, you're just chit chatting.
Mhm.
And we ended up, it was like networking without even realizing that you were networking. You're just having these conversations. And again, I left with so many new contacts that I've continued to stay in touch with and spoken to. And so I do think you're all right. Like the event's having a purpose, and not just, to promote what the publicist wants to say, but just to really like spread some community love and really like connect people, I think is the key that everyone should take away on the event side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Events.
We had another we had a question that came in, and so bylines. Do you all accept I know Tekisha does. We were just talking about that, but do you accept byline stories, or do you prefer to be pitched to have a writer cover something? That came in through Twitter.
We always have a writer cover it. We don't accept unsolicited manuscripts.
Okay. And April, no, I know.
I mean, I don't really know what a byline is. That's terrible. I know I'm not a journalist, so I don't know. But no, I write everything myself. So
And byline really is just the like by the writer's name on the article. So some outlets will accept an article that somebody else has written. And like, for instance, again, when I pitched Tekisha, so they accepted my pitch for me to write the piece on the crossover for crypto and cannabis. And Tekisha, since you do, is that something you prefer again that somebody kind of sends you a pitch and puts in there that they would prefer to write it themselves, that it's a story that they would like to write versus like, do you prefer that to be right up front?
Well, we are a startup, so we accept all help. So we like go through and we give direction on like tone, and just just to say, because our whole goal is to be approachable. Like, so we don't want it to be too jargony. We don't want it to be speaking about our audience. But yeah, like it's helpful, and especially too, we will maybe republish if it's something like super specific. Like we in this time issue, we did a cultural issue, and we needed people around the world and who were women in cannabis, and there was a Malaysian princess who basically spoke about halal hemp and like being okay with Muslims, and I'm like, that's super specific, and so it's like I could just repurpose. Like, can we just reuse this whole story because the content is so needed, and it wasn't like something that there's like 50 of her. Yeah, so for us, because we're a small team, it's like the bylines help, and then we just again make sure that we edit the tone and to make sure it's going to be fitting to our audience.
Say, are you? I think all of you, for the most part, we talked about timely versus evergreen pitches, and overall, I think it's still the standard. We were having a discussion on this on the PR board earlier too. Evergreen stories are typically tend to be the more popular from media, as it's especially with online outlets.
I was gonna say, so I wrote as my note is evergreen is the best, obviously. But like as far as timely goes, I would say like something like Boca Bacchanal, because it happens like every single year, I would be fine with that. But if it's something like random, I prefer it to be a yearly or semi-annual thing.
And what are your, this is great for people to know as well, for your specific outlets, what are your lead times that you're looking for stories? So if somebody does want to pitch you, let's say for something upcoming for the summer, or are you already working on, I know sometimes we're in midsummer and we're pitching gift guides for Christmas. So how far ahead are your lead times for your stories that you're working on?
For us, it's for print, it's probably 3 months. But we have this really vibrant online, platform now. So if it's something that is happening now or in the next week or something like that, that's doable, which never used to be the case.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah, like what Maurice said, I think we publish right now. We publish 2 print publications. So April and October for print, and then January is a digital. But what we're starting to see too is like we have a blog, and if we have a story that's relevant, like, and it doesn't meet those timelines. Because basically, so for our October issue, June is when we're going to start like pulling together, and accepting pitches and pulling together content. So it's like 4 months. Yeah.
So I guess I'm the quickest. For a blog, like I could do like a few days, but obviously it takes a little bit of time to write it all and put it all together. But usually I would say like 4 days for like a full-on video or something like that, or full-on blog post. But for like social media, much like a day would be fine.
Do you accept video submissions and things like what do you prefer to make your own videos or
Oh yeah, I make my own videos. I think in general, I've gotten it where they send me some video and I can incorporate their video into my video. I've done it before. So I'm able to do that sometimes, depending on the quality and as far as like the authenticity, where it maybe like looks like I could have actually shot it.
Okay. And Marie, for the mag blog or website component, I guess, or blog, are you accepting video submissions as well, like from local events, or do you prefer to have somebody come out? Yeah.
I'm not sure that anyone's ever submitted a video. We do our own. I mean, I would accept it if it was funny and if it was good. And I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't take that one out of bed. It's good. I mean, we just have to see. Our video capabilities are pretty limited now. So yeah, I would leave that open. It would have to, again, conform to something very relevant, something very local. Funny would be good. How to make something with a chef. I mean, those are always fun. We mostly generate our own, or have up till now, but who knows?
Marie, are you on all the social medias with
They push out most of our content on the website through Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. I don't know that they push all of it out.
you playing the same look with the lean? That's your lead. I love it. It's cute. That's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a great idea, actually, Emily, for like sending in video clips is hugely helpful. Like if you want some coverage, my friend works at Manatee Lagoon, and she'll just DM me. This is the thing, when you have a good relationship with a PR person, she'll just DM me a video of Manatee Lagoon, and I'm just gonna post it like I'm there, even if I'm not there, because I feel like my audience would love that. So something to think of. Ebook Mag feels the same way.
Yeah, I just never really thought about it.
Yeah, I've got video submissions. But I do, like anything, like video is, we would watch it, it's easier to consume and you get the personality and the context. I had a coworker who, well, he works in my co-working space, and but he does drone photography over the ocean. And he was like, I would just submit it, like, and I was like, is this life? You see all these like what are they, like, it's not manatees, but stingrays.
Mm-hmm. Manatees.
No, there you go. And he's like, I'd take all this great photography, this footage, and he would just submit it to like, big outlets, like, hey, if you want to use this. And that's how he like grew his following, and I write out like the content that they
And it's so moving.
yeah.
Wouldn't you have to just look at that? Like take a break during the day and look at Manta Ray. I can do it. I mean,
I feel like that's very like calming and therapeutic, just kind of sitting for like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, in general. Yeah, like I'm like kind of selling in a way the like South Florida lifestyle with for GoLightly. So anything like that would be perfect.
So you're making all the people from up north move here, huh?
No, that is not my fault. I want them to visit and then go back home.
too funny.
It's not my fault. It's fault too.
You guys bring them down here. We'll send them over to Tekisha's way, and then everyone will be nice and calm here.
Yeah,
We need that. Yes. Well, we have about 5 minutes left in here today. So I would love for each one of you to let people know where they can find you online, your email address, since you prefer to be pitched via email if they do have a story relevant. And anyone listening today can shoot you an email if they have some great human interest stories or stories to tell.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
You can find, it's a long name, but you can find me. My first name, Tekisha, Tekisha, and a curious mag. And on Instagram, we are at Can a Curious Mag.
thank you.
I am editor at bocamag.com, and that's good for all the magazines.
And Boca Mag on all social.
Yes, bocamag.com. And his name is Tyler at bocamag.com. He's the best guy he's our web editor. And he's like 12 years old and he's really smart. You know, Tyler at bocamag.com.
And April, how do the folks find you?
So my blog is aprilgolightly.com. You can email me at april@aprilgolightly.com. And it's GOLIGHTLY. And let me think. YouTube, April Go Lightly. Instagram, April Go Lightly. Twitter, April_Go Lightly. TikTok, April Go Lightly. I'm trying to think of anything else.
You're on TikTok, which is a lot of media has not gone into TikTok just yet, so I'm loving it. That's fantastic.
You know, we need to do an event around that, by the way. We should do a TikTok event.
Yeah. We could do, I'm down to do the TikTok panel.
Yeah.
For video. Everybody needs to do more video.
Everybody needs to do more video. I mean, that's really like we see on our end. That's what gets the best traction on social media nowadays, and that's where we're advising our clients. The marketing side is all video, social, audio, which Tanya's.
Yeah, I was going to ask you your thoughts on social audio.
What's social audio? What is that?
That's
so like we're streaming today on Twitter Spaces, so there's no video component to it. It's just strictly it's an audio, sort of like Clubhouse was, things like that. And so we actually get some great traction in Twitter Spaces. And every Monday we do Empower Yourself Monday with Association for Women in Communications, and we have women and men from all over the world who join into these spaces and listen in. So it's sort of like a podcast through social.
That's awesome. Yeah, my husband actually does a podcast, and he's been doing that for a while, and it's super fun. He started on YouTube, but then moved it over to podcasting, and fun hobby.
What's his podcast?
It's called Pixel Lit, so it's literature, like reviewing, kind of like a book club, but for video game books. So, like, so say, like, I can think of a video game for some, like, totally. What is it? Halo, or Dune or whatever. There's like books that are written about the games, and then they talk about the games, and then interview writers and things like that. So it's kind of like a nerdy book club.
Yeah, I literally jumped into podcasting like a month ago, so it's my very first podcast, and it's so much fun. I love it.
I feel like I should get a T-shirt. I listened to podcasts before they were called podcasts or something. So, yard days,
right.
wait, it's American life. So, but I love the video aspect of it, and I think that's what the pandemic gave me is that I love the video so much more than the writing. So much easier.
I tell people like I work in marketing, and I was like, no one reads. People not anymore, but you need to hook them in, but get to the point. Like, but people will like it's like mix both because if you're talking academic stuff, like make it a video.
Well, in the video, people I count on it, and I find that if you're a good storyteller, which is what I think we try to do, people are still reading, and there's actually, unprecedented number of magazines being launched every year now, which is so bizarre. You would think, print isn't dead.
No, it's the pandemic happening. Like everyone's so digital that they actually wanted to like, oh, I want something to flip through.
Exactly. And bookstores came back and book sales went up.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, I think that that's the key is people are reading, but they're reading when they're reading like they want the story. They're not reading the publications and the print pieces that are strictly just shilling for products. They want to hear human interest. They want to hear things that they're relating to, and then they will read and they'll sit and they'll read a lot. But it has to be relevant to what they're feeling these days. And I think a lot of those marketing stories felt really empty after the pandemic or during the pandemic, and so we're all craving those connections now, which is why we were so excited to have the three of you on, because you are all authentic storytellers who are telling people's stories and local here in Florida, and also amazing to work with on the publicity side. So thank you all, because you make my life easier too. I always appreciate you on that.
Yeah. We appreciate you too.
Thank you. And we're actually at our 7:30 mark. That hour flew. I know, right? But thank you all so much for joining us today. I'm going to turn it over to Tanya if there's anything else you wanted to jump in with. But otherwise, hopefully everybody joins us on Monday for Empower Yourself Monday again. And we'd love to have any of you on as guests if you've ever like to join us for that as well.
Okay. Thank you so much. Goodbye, everybody.
I want to say thank you, everybody, for being here. As I said, that we're gonna restream this because I recorded. I'm gonna restream it. It's like a part of the live streaming. So we live streamed the audio on Twitter Spaces, so it's on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and now we're gonna restream the video. So I appreciate everyone for being here and sharing your thoughts, and then let me know if you're doing anything. We'd love to have you come back and especially Empower Yourself Monday. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.